Yo, what is happening, guys? Nathan back once again with another episode of the Unplugged Freedom Podcast. As you can see, I got my morning coffee. It's a little bit wet out here, and it's not too bad. There was some snow in the mountains back there, but it's pretty good. You know, I heard on the radio today that they were talking about the new thing that came from South Africa. The new thing that came from South Africa, and they were wondering how effective are the against it. And they said, oh, if you have both, and you got it 3 months ago, I think it was, then your protection against this new one is next to nothing. So they say that you're going to need the third one. And they dropped a brand, okay, the one that starts with a P, right? So, and these companies basically pay the media companies, so like shout out to, right? Like, that's what they said. They said the third one. So if you got two and it was over 3 months ago, then your protection is not that great. However, if you get the third one, then you'll be okay. You'll be good for a little bit until the next one. And it got me thinking, because the thing is that in order to control people, you have to have cause and effect. You can't just come in and say, we're going to war in Afghanistan for 20 years and we're going to kill thousands of our own soldiers, whether American, Canadian, whatever. We're going to go there for 20 years, go to war. You can't just do that, okay? You need a good reason in order to go to war, and you need the people on your side. So you need cause, and then when you have the cause, then you can introduce the effect. So what was a good reason to go to Afghanistan and, kill innocent soldiers on the American and Canadian side? And I'm sure other sides as well. But, pretty sure we had a pretty good reason. But yeah, so you need cause and effect. So in this situation, people have two. They were pushed and they were told, they were forced, they were bribed, they were coerced into getting two, right? You can't just come out after pushing people, after forcing people, bribing people, okay? People are stupid, but they just need a little push sometimes. So you can't just come out and say, okay, you've got your two, now go get your third. They're not just gonna be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get my third, okay? People they do sometimes see reality. They do. They seriously do. And I'll talk a little bit about it. But I'm trying to switch hands here. So you have people, and you're trying to get them to take the third one now. Name drop in it too. Not only did you say a third one from any of the companies, you name dropped. The media name dropped a very specific one to get a third one from. So, and who pays for the advertisements on these media channels? Well, those companies themselves, right? So, that should be like a like the FTC. Just a side note. But if you're a big YouTube channel, let's say, and you come out and you say, hey, I've got this product, everybody go buy this product. If you're being paid, or you are being affiliated, or collecting some sort of income from people going and signing up to that, you have to disclose that. That is a rule. So it's interesting that they can get all this money, funneled to them and not have to do it. I know exactly how they do it, because you just pay for the ad. But whatever, it's a side note. So anyways, you have to get these people to get their third one now, right? But you can't just come in and say, hey, you've got your 2, now go get your 3rd. You can't just say that, because people are going to be like, but I just got my 2nd one. Like, what do you mean I got to get my 3rd one now? So you have to have cause and effect, right? So South Africa came along. Not South Africa as a whole. Don't, make this look bad. Okay, but just to describe what I'm talking about, because I can't actually say it, or else you will get banned and you will get censored and you will get deleted. But the one from South Africa came along, and now they're doing all these studies and these researches and these blah 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 fucking paid studies, paid scientists, right? And now this is the cause. They're gonna go back and say, hey, you need a 3rd one. Do you have your 3rd one? We've got the big one here. And your 2, just don't cut it anymore. So people will say, oh, okay, well, if I need it, then I'll get it, okay? So people are smart in that way, but they're still not very smart, right? So, but that's how you control people, right? In order to take away your guns, and in order to bring in gun regulations and all these stupid gun bans and all this bullshit, what do you think you have to do? Well, you need cause, and then you bring in the effect, right? So what is the cause? The cause is school shootings. The cause is children school shootings. The cause is murders by guns, right? I'm not saying that, just whatever, but if you look at these things, there's always an effect that follows. We had one, I think, in Newfoundland or Nova Scotia, I can't remember, last year or something, in Canada. And the thing is that they say, oh, shooting in Nova Scotia. And you're like, oh, that's terrible. And it is, don't get me wrong. But the thing is that then they come in and they say, oh, so because of that, we now have to implement these gun bans, kind of, we don't want to, but we gotta, right? So, but the stupid thing is that the gun bans don't do anybody any harm except for everyday people, like you or I, if we were to own a gun. They even affected people who had toy guns, mock guns, which are like airsoft weapons. They shoot little plastic BBs. They hurt. Don't get me wrong, they hurt. But they're not guns. But because they're replicas of real guns, real rifles, real weapons, then that's where the law now comes in. You have to give them up. I know so many guys who say that they lost their guns in on a hunting trip. Boat tipped over, guns went to the bottom of the ocean. Don't got any guns to give you, I'm sorry, I would if I had them. And so, I know a few people like that. Cheers to them, So you need cause, right? You gotta take away people's guns. You can't just come in and take away people's guns, right? You gotta have cause. You can't just go to war for 20 years and kill people, and on both sides, right? You gotta have good reason for that. You gotta have good cause for that. You can't just come in and tell people that, hey, you gotta get your third one. You can't. You need a good cause for that. So, good cause, brings in a good effect, right? So that's what I think this one that's coming out of South Africa is actually all about. Is the cause for that one, so that they can bring in the effect. And I can't help but laugh. Like I can't help but laugh because these people are so fucking stupid. Like seriously, so fucking stupid. So I can hear it now. People, Nathan, you shouldn't call people stupid. Well, I wouldn't call people stupid if people were fucking stupid. Like, come on now. So, where do you even begin? Okay. So this thing was in South Africa. It was in South Africa. It's now in pretty much every country around. Why? Oh, because some people brought it here. They carried it. They transmissed it to other people. And here you are. Like, because I can't travel. You know, I'm lucky that I can even go on one of those ferries back there, right? But I can't go on a train. I can't go on a plane. I can't go on this kind of shit. So it ain't coming from me. I'm on an island. I'm on an island by myself, you know, like, not by myself, but you know. But it ain't coming from me, okay? Because we can't travel. Healthy people can't travel. So, since healthy people can't travel, then who's bringing it from South Africa, right? Like, now here's also another thing. So, 15th of November, I was let go from my job, put on unpaid leave, right? Unpaid leave. So, the company says we are trying to make sure that we keep our workplace safe for everyone. So you need to get both. If you don't have both, you can have one by the 15th of November. And you will have until January to get your second one. So here's the thing. People are getting fired. People are being laid off. People are being let go. People are losing their jobs. People who have families. People who have wives, mortgages, mistresses. They got, you know, elderly parents who are living in their house with them. Like, they got everything, right? These people are being told that they cannot work because they are basically a hazard to the workplace, a health hazard. Because they want to keep the workplace safe, right? Safe. Everything's that word, safe. We are taking away your freedoms because of safety, right? So, if that's the case, they are still transmitting it. They're still sharing it, right? And they're still killing. They're killing people. They're basically killing people. Okay. So why is it that healthy people like myself and millions of other people are being fired and let go from their job and being told that we are unsafe to the workplace, when these people who have one or two are in the exact same boat as us with none? Right? You can't tell these people this shit. You can't tell them. They're just that fucking stupid. Like, you're just, like, they sit there on their high horse. They're always on their fucking high horses too. Like, they're like, oh, here's my green pass. I'm like, get fucked. Okay, get fucked. Okay, they all walk in the restaurant. They're like, oh, you need to see my green pass? Here you go. Yeah, what's up? Like, everybody in that restaurant who flashed their green pass on their fucking high horse, you're a fucking idiot, right? So anyways, so in my job, it was me and another person, okay? Now here's the thing. Let's say, hypothetically, I was still working, and I only had one. Let's say I only had one. If you only have one, if you only had one, you had to be tested, I think, every 72 hours. So the company provided you with a test that you could do every 72 hours. And here's one thing that I actually thought was quite wrong with that. They put them in a box in like a public area with your name on it. And I was like, that is fucking, like, that's so rude. Like, nobody needs to know that shit. Like, you know? So anyways, let's say I had one. Hypothetically, let's say I had one, okay? I go to work. I have to take a test. I have to prove that I am healthy, that I'm safe to work with, okay? Ding Dong, sitting next to me, he's got two. And he's all proud as shit, too. You know, he's like, oh, yeah. Went to the hockey game last night. Just fucking felt so good knowing that everybody in here was fucking safe. And you're just like, but you're not. Like, what? Like, you're not. Like, so anyways, let's say I go to work. I sit next to fucking Ding Dong here. He's got two. Guess what? He doesn't need to be tested. Or she. They don't need to be tested. Why? Because they've got two. So let's say if I had wife, kids, mortgage, elderly parents living in my basement suite. I show up to work. I take a test. I'm like, here we go. Because I only have one, remember? So let's say I do that, hypothetically. Show up, and I got to take a test provided by the company to prove that I'm healthy and that I'm not a workplace hazard. I show up to work. I sit next to Ding Dong here. Ding Dong's got both, okay? Meanwhile, I know I'm protected. Since my name was on the fucking box, everybody else knows that I'm fucking protected. Or I'm safe. They don't have to be tested. So I show up to work. Little do I know, this fucking guy or girl is infecting my ass. Now, because this thing is supposed to give you lesser symptoms, I don't know that I have it. So I go home. Ooh, those are big waves. I go home. Those are the biggest waves I've ever seen. Not the biggest waves I've ever seen, but those are the biggest waves. Mother Nature is beautiful. So I go home after working with Ding Dong here, who wasn't tested. He infected me, she infected me. I go home. I see my kids, I see my wife, I see my mistress, I see my elderly parents, and I infect them all. Let's say my elderly parents don't survive it and they die. Okay? Everybody else gets very sick. Right? Whatever. But they survive. How did that happen? It's a very real a very real scenario, because this fucking guy doesn't have to be tested like I would if I were to be at work with just one. Because I have to prove that I am safe and healthy every 3 days, 72 hours. So let's say if I was working, I wouldn't feel safe working next to somebody who had two, because I know that they don't have to be tested. What is that? What is that, like Canadian rule section 2? Rule 2, section 2? That's a section 2 violation, whatever. Unsafe work. I am not going to accept unsafe work working next to that fucking guy. No. But that's the reality. They can carry it, they can catch it, they can spread it, they can even die from it. If they spread it, they can spread it to somebody else who whatever, you could kill them. Anyways, these fucking people, I tell you, that's how idiotic and brain dead this fucking world is. That's why I come to a place like this where there is nobody. Where it's just you, the sound of the ocean, and a few ferries going by. Ferries as in like carrying people, you know. What else is with these idiots, these stupid people that just fucking can't get it, you know, like they catch it, they spread it, they spread this thing like wildfire all over the globe right now. My favorite part is that you can't go into the States. You can't go into the States, you can't come back into Canada. If you have two, you can't come in or out without a negative test. And my favorite part is when these people they're all confused. They're like, this is bullshit. Why do I have to do this? I got my stuff. And so now they're having to stay in a hotel, wait until their negative test. And I'm looking at it like a lot of us are looking at it. We're just like, are you surprised? Like, you're actually surprised? Like, I could have told you this, like, fucking, and we did, you know? Like you're actually fucking surprised that this is happening. Like, you are just as disgusting as me, pretty much, you know? Like, and you've got all two, plus a third, like... People are being fired from their jobs for no reason. You can't go in and out of the country without a negative test. Why? So it's like, why did you get it? People ask me, they're like, why haven't you got it? And I'm like, because there's absolutely zero reason for me to get it. It does nothing. It does nothing. It does nothing but put you at risk for all of the problems that it could cause. Oh, but it doesn't cause any problems. Yeah, it's because you don't actually see the problems that it causes, because anybody who talks about the problems that it causes are shamed, banned, and deleted everywhere. Professional mountain biker, forgot his name, sorry, but professional mountain biker. This is his career, healthy person. He wasn't, you know, like, against this thing. He did his duty as he thought, and he went and got it. Hasn't been on a bike since, which was almost a year ago, I think. His career, his life. He put out a video. Sorry, I forgot his name, but he put out a video on his Instagram, and like, it was so sad because like the guy's like on the edge of killing himself. Like your whole life, your whole career, your whole existence, basically, is gone. And why? He now talks about it, but once again, he's shamed, he's banned, he's told that he's, all kinds of crazy. And that's just one story of so many. So many. This thing has killed more people than any other one combined. And that's straight from the data itself. Like right there. That's straight from the data. You can just... The amount of things that happen with women is crazy. Women and their bodies. Absolutely insane. It's going to be an interesting, I want to say 3 to 6 months, but that seems long. Maybe 2 to 3 months. It's going to be an interesting 2 to 3 months. Because 3 to 6 months is like how we're moving. That's like a lifetime, like 3 to 6 months. Like, crazy. Just crazy how fast we're moving. We're already almost into 2022. I told people, so many of us said it, that 2021 was going to be far worse than 2020. And here we are. Division like never before seen. This kind of division. It's crazy. It's crazy, this kind of division. This kind of hatred, this kind of stupidity, this kind of idiocracy. It's fucking wild with these people. But yeah, it's interesting. Anyways, that's that. It's gonna be an interesting 2 to 3 months. Cause and effect. In order to go to war, in order to get your third, in order to take away your guns, you need a good cause.